Home is not a place for me at this point in my life. Home is the people I have around me.
Is there anywhere you live and not just exist?
Where my family is at?
Home. Home is definitely family.
I'm Stefano, I'm from Italy.
I'm Kaylee and I'm from South Africa.
I'm John, I'm from Nigeria.
I'm Vivian and I'm from Brazil. It's been almost a year since I've been home for the last time.
A year and about 7 months now.
I've been here since the 1st of April, yeah.
In 2011.
I chose to study abroad because I thought it would be a good opportunity for me to go out of my comfort zone, learn a different language, and try to learn a little more about other people's cultures.
When I was going to high school in Spain, I loved the universities they had in Spain, but realized that I would have had a better chance coming here in America to receive an education.
If you have a Western education, businesses are looking for you.
I started the whole application process, and then 3 months later, when I was on a tour working with the water polo team, I got an email saying that I'd got accepted. And then the first 3 months of this year, January, February, March, was just crazy. It was saying goodbye to all my friends, trying to plan like what I need to do.
There were a lot of different details that they needed us to do. We had to have a passport already. We had to do all the visa.
There was no time to study, and I had to take an English proficiency exam.
Consulate is a 14-hour drive away from my house. So we had to plan a trip. And so on Valentine's Day, my mom and I drove up to Cape Town.
And then you have an interview, and then you need to wait for the I-20, the document that the school sends to you after you're accepted.
So in 1 month, I had to take the TOEFL, take the ACT, and learn English.
The TOEFL exam is one of the requirements when you're coming to BYU-Idaho, and it's just an English test that requires you to have a good understanding of reading, listening, speaking, and also writing.
I spoke English all my life. Why do I have to take English proficiency exam? They're like, oh, it's a requirement, it's a new change, you have to do it. Didn't make sense to me why I had to, but it did when I took the test the first time and I saw how that test, how the testing system is. I'm like, okay, maybe the English I know here is a different one.
Once I received the letter of acceptance, then I was able to go to an embassy and request a visa.
They don't tell you about all these forms initially. You find out like one step at a time.
All of the process, it always depends on something else, and it always depends on something that you did before.
When I got the admission, the challenge is, how are you going to pay the initial deposit of $4,000?
And so we just get this bomb dropped on us, like this little notification on the laptop. Okay, in order for you to proceed with the rest of your application to get here, you need to now make this international student deposit.
Then I said, okay, how about I just try to go to another school that wouldn't require me to pay that deposit? I went to Idaho State University.
I remember at one point my dad was like, Kaylee, like at what point is all this going to stop? Like I keep having to put money on things, and we keep budgeting things around how much school's going to cost, and then we're adding all these extra things on as well.
It's a lot of money when you don't even know about it sometimes. In most cases, people just have no idea.
The man named Brad Berriott and Michelle Berriott, they were new parents to me. They were amazing, fantastic people. I lived with them for 3 months, and of course, Brad is a businessman. He knows the system, so he worked with me closely, and by the time I knew it, I had raised the money to come here. So I had to go through this long route in order for me to end up here at BYU-Idaho.
Personally, a challenge that I had when I came here was there was a little bit of a culture shock.
English was a huge challenge for me.
I had no idea how to register for classes.
Looks like almost everything I ate when I first came here were all processed food.
I only knew 3 people. I knew my sister, my brother-in-law, and my brother's friend. And it was my brother's ex-girlfriend. So when I first saw her, of course I embraced her, gave her a hug, and gave her like 2 kisses in the cheeks like we do in Europe, and she just turned bright red.
We don't work with credits in our country. It's like, this is your degree, these are the classes you will take. They tell you when your classes are, and you either rock up or you don't. It's not like you can choose your professors, you can choose what time slots you want.
I had to think in English. I had to kind of switch a little bit to English, and that's what I had to do. So it was a huge challenge for me in the beginning. To just, sometimes I would just zone out.
We got a good laugh out of it, but especially the personal space, the personal bubble for Americans is a lot bigger. It's a lot more professional. People give you the handshake, and it's a little bit more formal.
I don't think I've ever experienced direct racism. However, I would more call it racial ignorance.
I don't believe in racism. I don't believe anyone is superior to me.
I felt sometimes like people were treating me like I was less than what I really am, than who I really am because of my country. And sometimes they wouldn't give me the same opportunities that they would give someone else because I'm from a different country.
I get all the stereotypical questions, but I wouldn't say there hasn't been any discrimination from Americans toward me.
Now I'm way more open to tell people about it, because at first it's kind of hurtful. You're like, I know all these things about you, why don't you know anything about me? But
I believe that we are all children of God, and that we all have equal potentials to become whatever we want to be.
something that I found that makes me feel closer to home.
During the weekends or on Sundays, I try to make a Brazilian dish.
Actually start dating someone and like feel safe and not having to explain myself, like that made me feel closer to home. And now, like I said earlier about having family situations, like I can eat dinner and sit down with somebody that I can talk to, and I'm not just sitting at a table by myself eating cereal. I'm actually like eating, like vegetables and things that my mom would do for me.
During the winter, I love to snowboard, which is pretty much surfing the earth. So
traveling is part of learning. It broadens your mind. It helps you see things way differently than you would otherwise.
No matter what happens after I graduate BYU-Idaho, if I go to Brazil, if I go anywhere else, and no matter if I decide to stay here, there's always going to be a part of me, and there's always going to be that little part of my heart that it's going to belong to Brazil.
Living abroad is the best thing to do because it's going to put you in hard times, it's going to put you in fun times, you're going to see new things, meet new people, and you can become exponentially better for it.
In the end, there is one thing that won't fade away, and that's your knowledge.
bring your culture, bring your uniqueness, and use it to your advantage.
Make yourself uncomfortable so that you can grow, I think.